Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Morning, everybody! All right, we are going to take a look today at the top 10 things. There's more. We're going to look at everything, but the top 10 things that came out in this book and the things that Harry has said. I think the book is going to be panned. I'm pretty sure most people at this point are canceling their orders. Yeah, I would. What's the point? Now we know exactly what's going on in the book. All right, grab on. Let's go. You guys, right off the bat, the book has shown us that Harry has some deep-seated psychological problems. He's trying to reach his mother and talk to her through psychics. Like, I'd heard that story before, but it had happened in New York. But here it's claiming it happened in Botswana. And we've also heard that Harry keeps some of his mother's hair in a box on his bedside table. Stories like this show just how scarily not in touch with reality Harry is. He and his wife were in Scotland on a boat and they came across some singing seals, and Meghan sang back to the seals and they sang back to Meghan, and he thought, wow, she's really magic, and even the seals know it. You guys, like, that's some scary stuff. All right. Now, Harry was warned, don't treat the public like fools. Obviously, he didn't listen to that warning. And now we have the 10 biggest bombshells from Harry's book so far. Here we go. Accusation number 1 is that William physically attacked Harry. Okay, number 1, that's an accusation. There's absolutely no proof of any kind that this fight took place. Now, Harry and Meghan took pictures of everything while they were, planning their leaving. Where are the photos of the cuts and bruises that were on Harry's back? Now, I agree with what Akua said on Twitter. Had it been Harry who knocked William down, they'd been going, wow, masculine and fabulous, and they would have been applauding him. But since it went the other way around, they're calling for William to be arrested. Like, I'm not kidding. Now, one of my subscribers wrote to me and pointed something out which really struck me, that the fight took place in the cottage at the end of 2019, but Harry and Meghan no longer lived there in 2019. They had already moved to Frogmore. As a matter of fact, by the end of 2019, they were in Canada. Good point. Number 2, Charles begged his sons not to fight. He said, please don't make my final years a misery. Do I believe this? Yes, I do. Because he saw what Harry and Meghan did to the Queen in her final years, and he didn't want it to happen to him. But the fact that Harry brought that pain from his dad, who had just lost his father, into the book, I think is just horrible. Number 3, you guys know that he's putting the blame for the Nazi uniform on Catherine and William. What you guys are forgetting is that he was in his 20s. He was not some 15-year-old teenager when this happened. The boy was in his 20s. So when this came out, I thought, I wonder how he's going to get out of the rest of the stuff. And this Twitter follower wrote the same thing. How's he going to explain the racial slurs and the things that he said, about his fellow soldiers, and, the thing he said to that comedian about Chelsea, where he said, she's not black or anything. I mean, all these horrible things that he said, all these just disgusting racist comments. I was wondering how he was going to get out of them. You guys, okay, brace yourselves. Harry said that he didn't know saying those things was insulting. He said calling somebody a raghead or a packy head, he said, was the same thing as calling somebody a Yankee. Okay, an obvious lie and an attempt to not take responsibility. There you go. I have to agree with Meghan's mole here. I think Harry is trying to blame William and Catherine for the Nazi mistake, saying that, look, the palace is going to defend them, but they're not defending me. Dirty game. Number 4 is that Harry thinks the royal family doesn't want to reconcile. I got to be honest, I still thought there might have been a glimmer of hope. But after this book, I can assure you, there will be no reconciliation. They are finished with you. Number 5, Harry sees no possibility of returning to the royal family. Again, I completely agree. They don't trust you. They think you're a doofus. Number 6, Harry says the royal family continued to plant stories. Now, we know that he accused Camilla of being the one to plant stories. And basically also accused her of only marrying Charles to get the crown, that she never really loved him, which I think we all know after what the two of them went through is a lie. But here's the main point. Where's your proof? Once again, he's making accusations and he has absolutely no evidence that anybody planted anything. We know he did, though. Number 7, he refuses to confirm if he's going to attend the coronation. You know what? I think that's fine. I think the family would be just fine with him not attending. Number 8, he didn't want Camilla as his stepmother, and he begged Charles not to marry her. You know, we've all seen the interview Harry gave where he said, "She makes my dad happy, and that's all that matters." Yeah. And I think this article perfectly shows Harry's mindset and victimhood, because supposedly Camilla wasn't as interested in meeting him as William because he was the spare, not the heir. Okay. Number 9, Harry admits to drug usage. Okay, he not only admitted to what he puts up his nose, he also admitted to using mushrooms, and he said that he actually saw a trash bin talking. It developed a head and was talking. I think that's part of his problem. You know, long-term abuse can alter your brain. I mean, I think that's pretty common knowledge. I think he had a bad set of friends. I think Prince Charles didn't know what to do with him, so he just kind of let him do his thing. I think Harry ran positively wild. Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear this. That's the thing. But here's the thing. He wants you to think he doesn't do it anymore. Yeah, no, I think he still does. Looks like Harry was using while he was in the military as well, and they were protecting him because every time there might be a test, they whisked him off base. And finally, and the worst thing I think he could have said, he revealed that he killed 25 people in Afghanistan. Now, a lot of veterans have spoken up and said, you don't talk about that sort of thing. And you certainly are not trained to treat insurgents like they're subhuman. Harry said, killing these people was like taking chess pieces off of a board. Let me tell you something. This has not gone over well. Talk TV put out an announcement. Listen to this.
A bit of breaking news for you. How about this about Prince Harry and his rather ludicrous statement about what he did in Afghanistan? A senior Taliban leader has told Prince Harry that the militants he killed in Afghanistan were not chess pieces. They were humans. So congratulations to Harry. Anas Haqqani has tweeted this. Mr. Harry, the ones you killed were not chess pieces. They were humans. They had families who were waiting for their return. Among the killers of Afghans, not many have your decency to reveal their conscience and confess to their war crimes. So the Taliban confirming that Prince Harry is a war criminal. Well done, Harry. Top man. I hope the $20 million was worth it.
So one of Harry's Royal Marine friends spoke up and said he needs to shut up now. And if he had the right people around him, they would be telling him to stop speaking. That's truer words were never spoken. I agree. He does not have the right people around him. And here he was worried about who was around the Queen. Like, are you kidding me? And as you're looking at these photos of him in full gear, remember, this is the man who was crying that his brother pushed him to the floor in the cottage and he landed on the dog bowl. Now, some Taliban are mocking him and tweeting about how sick in the head he is and he needs help. But not all are doing that. Now, I must agree with Trevor Colt here. I think if Harry's family wasn't in danger, they will be now, because the Afghan and Pakistani Twitter feed is full of people now that want to hunt down and kill Harry. If they can't get to Harry, they might just go for his wife and children. He is a security threat. But maybe this is what he was planning. Oh, now I need the protection. You have to give me the protection because now I have a bullet on my back. No, you had a bullet on your back before, but now you've also endangered the lives of the rest of the family. Death threats are now being made to the royal family. I don't understand him. Now, this Twitter user said that his son-in-law served with Harry and that claim isn't real because he had protection troops around him on the ground, and whenever there was an attack, he was taken to a safety bunker. That's why they called him Bunker Harry. Well, stuff that we didn't need to know. We learned that both Harry and William are circumcised. Who cares? We learned about how Harry lost his virginity. Again, why do I care? And quite frankly, the story he gives sounds, again, hard to believe a 30-something-year-old man is telling this. He tells a story about how Meghan had to borrow Kate's lip gloss, and Meghan goes, that's an American thing. I don't use other people's lip gloss. That's disgusting. Then he does this whole thing about how Dad didn't financially support us because he was any kind of a good father. He did it because that was his job and that was part of the deal. Now that, I think, is where he's upset that finally his dad cut him off after giving him millions upon millions and then a final big lump sum payment. Then you hear whiny stuff like this. William had the better bedroom at Balmoral than I did. Mine was smaller. He made some smart alecky comments about William's hair loss. I guess he didn't look in the mirror before he got his hair transplant. Shockingly, Harry admits in the book that he and Meghan told the family about Meghan's pregnancy, I'm air quoting, during Eugenie's wedding. The level of immaturity, and here's an example. He says, the night before the wedding, William was scheduled to come to dinner to join us for the evening, but just like her father, he canceled last minute and he said, I just can't do it, Harold, Kate and the kids. I reminded him that this was our tradition and that we'd had dinner before his wedding, that we'd be gone together and visited the crowds, and he said, I can't do it. And this is a perfect example. William's wife, Catherine, had just given birth to Louis, so they had a less than 1 month old baby, 3 kids total under 5 years old. Catherine probably needed his help, and it was not reasonable that you could expect him to spend the night with you. The level of jealousy. Here. He describes going to William and Catherine's apartment and Meghan's mouth was open, looking at the decor and the art going, wow, oh wow. And Harry said, look at that. They had IKEA furniture and lamps that they paid for with Meghan's credit card. But how long had Catherine and William lived there? How long did it take them to decorate that apartment? I find it interesting that this was online also. This is some of IKEA's stuff that was in William and Catherine's apartment. I have to agree with Rena's son. The contents of this book show a childish, desperate, sick man. No accountability. He's so hypocritical. It's ridiculous. And yes, I am also grateful that the Queen didn't live long enough to see this book. So now it's damage control time. So Harry is going on another interview on The Late Show. Let's face it, the book is being ripped to shreds. These little excerpts that were quote unquote leaked out, please, they were absolutely leaked before anybody says anything. People are calling him a numpty. People are not happy. He's being ripped to shreds. No amount of shows, no amount of going on these talk shows and trying to talk is going to undo the amount of damage. He can forget about ever returning to the UK. It's over for him. Damage control mode. Penguin Random House and Archwell Communications are encouraging favored writers to give good reviews of the book. They've got Harry out in the rain looking so sad. Now, more stories came out, like the story about what happened when his grandmother passed. And what Harry wrote is that he was angry with his father because Charles said Meghan's not welcome to fly to Balmoral. Okay? He goes, that's my father. The health of my grandmother's deteriorating. And straight away, he says, I wrote to William to ask if they were going to fly, and if so, when and where, etc. And he says, William didn't respond to me. So Meg and I started looking up flights, and the press called, and we couldn't keep putting off a decision. So then my father calls again and tells me I'm welcome, but Meghan's not. And he explained his situation. He explained his reasons. And Harry goes, that's disrespectful. Don't talk about my wife like that. The man is so self-absorbed, he can't even see what he and Meghan had been doing to the Queen all that time. And none of the other wives were going to be there, and therefore she wasn't welcome. So Harry gets mad. And by the way, this picture, let's not forget that this was after the Netflix documentary was finished and was going to be coming out in a few days. Yeah. So the plane was waiting, and then finally the press was notified that she would be coming with Harry. And so instead of trying to get to the Queen, Harry and Meghan were busy briefing the press about what they were going to do. That's why William told the plane to take off without him. So here they are talking about Thomas Markle engaging with the press, and they say we don't engage with the press. And then they were engaging with the press instead of worrying about getting to the Queen. I completely agree. You know, one of the other stories that Harry touched on was the whole wedding tiara drama thing. And he wants you to believe that they wanted to wear Princess Diana's tiara, but Queen Elizabeth begged them to wear one of hers. You know, I absolutely agree with Royally Blunt here, because Archie and Lily are going to read this book in the future. They're going to read about their father mounting another woman, using drugs, wearing Nazi uniforms. I mean, you know what? The whole thing. Let the genetic pain begin. By the way, this little bit that she put in about the whole dress fitting thing, I don't believe for a second. Saying that, you know, Catherine said that all the bridesmaid dresses need to be redone with 4 days to go. I don't believe that for a second. But notice what Harry says. I came home and found Meghan on the floor sobbing. Not true. Another story that Harry touched on was Meghan's supposed miscarriage. You know, we've been told multiple things. But anyway, he said, we left the hospital with a package. We went to a garden that only we know where it is. And under a tree, I dug a little hole with my hands and carefully laid the package in the garden. Sounds suspiciously like what was in Paul Burrell's 2006 book about Diana, where she said that her best friend gave birth to a stillborn baby, and she quietly and secretly buried the baby in the garden. Yeah. And a big thank you to Riley Dog on Twitter for this. This is true. According to California law, anybody who deposits or disposes of human remains anywhere except a cemetery is guilty of a misdemeanor. By the way, products of conception are usually sent to pathology to be tested to see if they found something wrong. It's very unusual for people to try to take them from the hospital. Then you have stories like this. Harry rode Meghan across the lake to his mother's grave. And while he was there, he thought that she wanted a moment alone with Diana, so he left. And when he came back, he found Meghan on her knees with her hands on the grave, you know, looking, asking quietly for peace and clarity from Diana. Yeah. Again, with the, this is my mother. It's scary, you guys. Here's another story where Harry takes a swipe at his family. He says that he and Meghan got into a fight, and Meghan walked away from it. And she said, I will not be spoken to in that tone of voice. And then she asked him, have you ever overheard adults speak that way growing up? And Harry said yes. And she's like, okay, get into therapy. I mean, I'm telling you guys, scary. Now, there was a sugar online who kept sending stuff to me, this lady you see above, to prove to me that William is the aggressive one, not Harry. So let's take a look at these. Now, we know that Harry, when he was younger, intentionally ran his bicycle into the leg of one of their security guards. But here you go. This is her first example to me that William is the one who's aggressive. He apparently threatened his nanny when he was 4. Then she sent me this one that shows that William flew into a rage when he was stalked by the paparazzi. I remember this. He absolutely did. He told the man, "You're disgusting. You're terrible." He was outraged, but he never assaulted anybody. He just yelled at the guy. Then she sent me this one. Notice that the title says alleged. The reason it says alleged, my friend, is because it's unproven. It didn't happen. It's clickbait, but you go right on believing it. Then she sent me this one talking about how William and Charles were enraged at some of the stuff Harry said. Well, I can believe that. It's not nice when you have family members lying about you on the internet. You know, guys, any way you look at it, there's no photos of William drunk in public. There's no photos of William fighting with anybody. There's been not one shred of evidence of William ever using drugs. William dated his wife for 9 years before he married her. They have a solid relationship. I think that Harry is so incandescent with rage, with jealousy. My brother has everything that I ever wanted, that he just can't do it. He just can't do it. It's really a shame. But there's no excuse for his behavior through the years. And everything he said is, it's my family's fault. That's it. What it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen, is he's so jealous. He wants William's life. And even now where he's living, the paper where he's living is making fun of him. Like he's so finished. What it comes down to is that Harry has been a small-minded, spoiled, jealous, narcissistic, enraged person. He's mad at his brother because he merely exists. And he's always been that way. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Yes, Meghan deserves some of the blame, but the majority of this mess now we know has to fall on Harry. All right, I'm putting up this picture of William as a palate cleanser. Now, really quickly, let me address what happened. I put up a video, and then almost immediately YouTube removed it, and everybody thought that it was the sugars or something. It was not. I had put some pictures in there of Harry playing naked billiards in Las Vegas, and YouTube says that those pictures went against their, rules, and so they took my video down. As you can see, all I had to do was remove those photos, and the video went right back up. So all is good, my friends, never fear. All right. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell. Don't forget to leave those comments below. Don't forget to go up into the description box, and there you will find the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email. That's how many of you were able to see the video after it disappeared. You were able to watch it on Rumble. Don't forget that we're still doing the fundraiser. Any funds donated through the coffee fund will be matched by me up to $500. And that's pretty much it. There'll be another video on Monday. Remember, I don't do videos on Sundays. And I hope you guys have a great day.